We're going to start off first. Everybody has seen YSL Woody, right? But one of the questions that I'm pretty sure you guys have that I have is, who is Kenneth Copeland?
Me?
So it's you. I hope so. I've seen you enough, and you're always in my feed, so I hope it's you. Mm-hmm. But, did you play sports growing up?
Nah, I couldn't play sports. I have a hearing problem, so they said I couldn't pass the physical.
So if you could play a sport, what was kind of your favorite sport that you didn't play in organized sports?
I would have played football,
Okay.
basketball, one of those.
Were you a wide receiver, quarterback? Were you quick? Were you a linebacker, a safety?
Whatever position they would give me.
All right, I prayed about this. That you didn't treat me like some other lawyers. I want to be friendly. So, but so you played sports. Growing up, tell us a little bit about how was school for you? Things of that nature.
So where you want me to start?
Start where you first remember what your first home. What city did you live in?
All right, I grew up. I was born and raised in Atlanta. The first projects I stayed in was Born Home, Mechanicsville. I went to a lot of different elementary schools because of my hearing problem. I couldn't go to school with my brothers and sisters. I used to get in trouble a lot because, like I said, I wanted attention. I wanted to play sports. I couldn't play sports because of my ear. So when I couldn't play sports, I didn't know no purpose of school. I'm like, I ain't want. It is what it is.
Okay, and that's not uncommon for a lot of you, right? School, if it doesn't have something that draws you to it or to keep your interest, if education isn't necessarily your interest, you lose interest and you find other things to do.
Right.
And so, at that stage, did you have an idea of what you wanted to be, or was it a profession that you wanted to do at that time?
What you mean at what time?
So growing up, let's say elementary, at any point did you say, I want to be a firefighter or a doctor or a pilot?
When I was young, I used to want to help people. So when my mama died, I was like, I didn't care about helping nobody no more. Because I felt like she was killed by the hospital. So, it kind of changed my way of thinking and my path in life.
And that too is something that is not uncommon. Grief. I think how old were you when she passed away?
I was 17.
Okay. Were you still in school at that time?
Yeah, they kicked me out of school my first day back, right after that happened.
Really?
Yeah, for something I didn't even do.
So, saying that, do you feel that the education system failed you in that regard?
Well, right now with the mindset I got, I'm gonna take accountability for anything. If I would have did my part, my situation would never be what it is. So, I'm not gonna blame the school, but I feel the school could have done better.
Okay, and that's real. That's real. Because I'll tell you myself, my teachers in junior high told my dad whatever money he was saving for college, that he needed to find a lawyer and start paying a retainer right then. Right? Like he's like, and that was the first time I saw my dad cry. The first time I saw my dad cry. And I just knew when I got home, I was going to get towed up because he didn't play. So I grew up not too much different, right across the street over here at the CUNY homes. And so my dad played football here. My mom went to school here after graduating from Bethune. And so now we have 3 generations of my family who have attended this historically black college.
God's good.
And so I understand that, and if it wasn't for a teacher, Mr. Richardson, if he didn't pull me out and protect me from the other teachers and the other students, I don't know necessarily where I would be. And so that's why I said, and like you said, the education system could have done better. Could have done better. And before we go any further, I want you to know this, that you are actually realizing your initial dream in helping people. Because of you, some of these knuckleheads who wouldn't have been here to hear about how to do depositions and how to do trials and how to handle hostile witnesses wouldn't have come. So today, you have partially fulfilled because you have a lot more work to do in helping your community. Because look at those faces.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of faces. And it's a lot of faces of color. So you are starting to do what you realized you wanted to do when you were in elementary. So I want to say that before we go too much further and you crack more jokes on me and people forget about that. So let's talk about your time on the stand, because you had a couple of moments that touched me. Mm-hmm. I think one of the greatest moments that one of the greatest testimonies from a witness I've ever heard is when you corrected the attorney and you said, God wasn't in my head, he was in my heart.
Right.
And there were a couple of other moments. How did you feel being on that stand now, which seems like it's months? How did you feel during that time period? And what are some things that you felt that possibly had you act out of character? Don't have to give me a particular moment, but I just want to know how you felt and how you feel you probably could have done something different.
So you want me to start with how I felt?
Yes.
I felt that I should have just went inside in jail, and being in jail is the worst thing ever. So sitting on that stand, knowing that I lied, and knowing that I done told these people I lied, and knowing that they know that I lied, and seeing her, knowing that these people's life is on the line, and they trying to force this on my conscience after I don't clean my life, like clean my past. Man, this is like the worst feeling ever. You know what I mean? Can't eat, can't sleep. Trying to explain how I felt is you trying to make a nigga cry.
I don't want you to cry because they don't need two grown men up here tearing up. But that's real though, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you saw.
Have you ever felt like you weren't in control of yourself? Have anybody ever just felt as in they just going, but they don't even see how they got there, or they just got through something and can't remember how it went? Some of them days I sit in there, like, I don't even know how I got through that. I just realized that I'm walking down the street. I don't even remember nothing, none of this. So I have no control of myself, and trying to let it be known that, hey man, it's unfair.
And that's real. That's real. And so, in cases like that, and you have a witness on the stand, as an attorney, your job is to protect your client. At those moments, you pull your client out of the lion's mouth because things start to happen and you start to lose ground on your case. And so when you see your client in those positions, ladies and gentlemen, I've done it. Excuse me, Your Honor, and I don't care about myself. I'm like, hey, Your Honor, I ate something last night and I need to get out of here, or we're going to end up shutting the whole court down for the day, right? Jury laughs, judge admonishes me about saying stupid stuff, but I need to make sure that my client is in control and they're good. And that's important. Regardless of what side of whether you're doing a civil case, a criminal case, you got to make sure you protect your client. So we don't cry, I'm going to move on. Is there anything else you want to say to that point?
Yeah, I do. People don't care. I told people I wasn't eating. I wasn't nothing. The police had to give me apple juice just so I could put something in my system. Nobody don't care. I couldn't trust the people who's supposed to be in my best interest. Can't trust the state and can't trust the defense. So it's just like, again, when my mama died, I felt like it was only me in this world. And throughout that whole process, that's what it was again, only to protect myself. So it's like, I'm going through a phase that I already went through again.
So, Woody, I'm going to try this experiment, and I hope I'm successful in it. And so I'm going to ask the people in this room to give a round of applause to let you know that you have people in your corner and you have people who believe in you and care about your mental and physical health. So if you care about those things for your clients, let's give them a round of applause.
I appreciate that.
Because from one black man to another black man, if you saw one of the videos that I did, when I did practice criminal law, I told lawyers that one of the most heartbreaking things, and I've only had it happen to me twice, is to watch your client walk behind bars. Because it was like someone had put a mirror in a zoo, and I was walking through looking at myself. And I never want to see a black man or a black woman on the other side, or anyone on the other side of those bars, especially when you know how the system works. And so, can I move on?
If you want to.
All right, because I'm going to try to get you out of here. So saying that, you said you felt by yourself. What is it, and I want you to tell them, what is it that you look for in a lawyer? What do you want to see? What kind of communication? What do you want?
Choice. That's the first thing first. Because you can say whatever, but choice is one of the hardest things a person can give. So every time, I've been in jail a lot. Every lawyer I had, I played stupid on them because I got to see, can I trust them? So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to act stupid. I'm going to act like I can't read. I'm going to act like I don't understand. And I'm going to make sure that you explain everything to me. Most lawyers I had, they thought I was stupid. I go to jail for like the stupidest things. I went to jail for terrorist threat. I was growing up in here, stick and stone might break my bones, but words never hurt. They tried to make me take 7 years for telling somebody how to do something to them. And yeah. My roommate actually killed somebody. He got a bond. And he my roommate. So it's just like, man. But that's when you build up your case and you do what you got to do. By the time the lawyer realized I went stupid, it was over with. I ran the state bond.
So let me ask you this, not to go into details about your cases, but you said communication and trust.
Right.
So as your lawyer, is it important that I explain the actual law that applies to your case to you so that you understand it?
As a lawyer, you should try to relate. You gotta build a connection off the rip. I had one lawyer, he came in, but the first thing he said out of his mouth was, I want to know about this. Hold up. He ain't getting no trust no more. And you can't, once you mess up, you can't come back from it. It's with me, at least. But I realize a lot of people, they go through my situation ain't have the mindset I have. So they go for anything. But when he asked me that, I couldn't trust him no more. So he could have told me anything right. But you bringing us the wrong stuff. So you know.
So we're gonna stay right there, but I have a question for you, Woody, because I pulled out my calculator and I looked and I asked AI, how old is grown? I can't find a response to how old is grown. And when you said that, man, I was a fan for life. But so since then, I've been on AI asking what is grown, what age, what's the number of that. And so we talked about it briefly before you came in here and how attorneys should handle witnesses that do that. But I just thought that was an extremely funny moment when you said, I'm grown, and wouldn't give a number. So I'm going to get past that. But
is it true though, right?
That's what made it funny, Woody. is that, yeah, he looked grown. He doing grown people things.
They send me to grown places?
They sending you to grown. Well, you got to be careful, Woody, because sometimes they send kids there too, depending on what they do.
Yeah.
And so, but I laughed because the things that you said were true, and the type of lawyering that was taking place. And we're not going to get into that, but there were things that, as a practicing lawyer, you never let a witness kind of get that far away from you, right? You try to keep them close. And so you try to keep your questions in a manner that are more geared towards you, right? And so, or geared toward the case and not so much personality. And so you don't want to do that. And so I'm going to ask one more question, and then I'm going to open it up to the audience. We're going to ask 2 questions, but we're going to stay away from the trial, okay? We're going to stay away from facts dealing with the trial, because you guys clapped. You said you supported my man's mental and physical health, and so we want to keep that going, all right? You with me? Okay. So Woody, you been following the election, the presidential election?
Nope.
All right, Woody. Permission to treat him as a hostile witness?
Don't lock me up, man.
Nah, bruh. Nah, I don't do the lockup. And so, you know, I asked you that because that's a real conversation. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Here in the state of Texas, we fought and we elected a black male district attorney in Dallas County. First thing that he did was decriminalize personal possession of marijuana, because it's not legal here, and stop prosecuting and locking people up for months for trespassing, and tried to find ways to get them help. That happened because of a vote. If we did not vote to put him in office, those changes wouldn't have happened. Same thing during the Obama administration, where the crack cocaine, nonviolent drug possession cases, those things were able to be changed because we voted. And so it's important, especially people like yourself, with this platform, or if there's issues dealing with criminal justice reform that you want to see, brother, you got the world's mic.
But I got a question though. You didn't ask me why I don't follow.
All right. I lost trust, and I'm hoping I can get it back. Woody, why don't you follow?
Because as a convicted felon, you can't vote. But look at our president.
Well, not our president, our potential a candidate for presidency. Jesus help us.
But if I can vote, I vote for Trump though.
Say what?
If I can vote, I vote for Trump.
Oh, Jesus, Woody.
You know why? Because of the experience. Trump know where to like to go to booking.
I will say this. And that's good we're having this conversation. It's good that we're having this conversation. He may have, and I'm not saying either or, but I'm just going to give you some facts. He may have had the experience, but what did he do with the knowledge and the opportunity before he had the experience?
Well, I don't like Trump, but my thing is, when you know something is wrong, you have a better understanding on correcting it.
And so that brings another question, right? And I'm finna, because we're talking.
All
we
right.
just homeboys. So if I told you that the vice president, the current vice president, his opponent, Vice President Harris, when she was the DA, she created programs to assist young men like yourself so that you did not get felonies, to protect you so that you didn't lose your right to vote, to put you in programs so that you could go through them and come out on the other side and reserve that right. And she did that when she was in California. Knowing that she did and had programs similar to that in California, and she may have plans, I don't know, to do that more on a national level. Because, I don't know, we both from the neighborhood, right?
For sure, I am.
Oh, Jesus. Next time you come down here, man, we're going to turn some corners.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to turn some corners, and I'm going to end with this. We know in our community, it's a big difference between running your mouth and doing something. Mm-hmm. We all know it's people who say, man, I'm going to get you, I'm going to knock you out, and it's people who don't say nothing who will knock you out. So saying that, if you could vote, and matter of fact, even if you can't vote, because I've worked with ex-offenders who have felonies who operated in the sense of getting their family members, their daughters who turned 18, their sons who turned 18, and getting them to the polls, because there are some people who are fighting to get that right back for you. And so saying that, we're going to have another talk. This ain't the last one, but I'm glad you said what you said, because, man, there's a lot of people who think like you out there.
Let me say this.
Okay.
Out the rip, she don't have a chance with me. It's hard for me to trust black people, because the only people that ever showed me sympathy was like white people, other races. Black people are always trying to psych it to me and the people that I know, just like these two at the courthouse. Right is right, wrong is wrong.
True, I heard you say that.
You feel me? So every time I got arrested, every time I went to prison, you know, it was hard on me. It was a black judge. It was a black cop. I done really did some stupid stuff, right? And got caught by a white cop. He looked at me, he had sympathy. He said, man, I'm gonna give you a chance. You know, he locked me up, but
So,
questions from
okay.
the audience, if we could.
All right, we're
Okay.
gonna go ahead and ask, and while she's coming up, give me an opportunity to change your viewpoint on that.
All right.
Can I have that?
yeah, you can.
All right. What's the first question? Who do we have?
Hey Woody, my name's Autumn. My question for you is reflecting
I can't see that far.
on all your life experiences. What's next for you? Like, what do you want to do next?
Let God lead my path.
Well, that wasn't my question, but I do want you to elaborate. So can you tell us what that means? Because you have like such a big internet presence now. Like, I'm also from the South. A lot of us that are from the South watch the trial now.
Yes.
Okay. A lot of us from the South, we've watched the trial. We've kind of fallen in love with these mannerisms that we saw growing up in our neighborhood. It just seems regular. It seems familial. And so what is exactly does that look like moving forward? Like, I understand letting God lead your path, but is there something that you actually would want to do, whether it's podcasting, like what does that look like now that you have this newfound fame?
So I want to start a nonprofit, and I was a child that wanted somebody to help me. I wanted to go to games, and I wanted to do things that was exciting and see more. When I started, when I started hanging with Thug, he showed me it was more to life. Flying on planes, going to see water and all of that. I got outside of Atlanta. I want other kids in the neighborhood to see that you ain't got to stand on this corner, or you ain't got to break in these cars. So I want to start a nonprofit to show them there's more, and I want to be a inspiration. I want to be an inspiring person to them, and keep them away from joining gangs. So, this what I want to do, and I just pray God continue me on that path. Social media, it angers me because you got so many ignorant people trying to attack me off of rumors that they don't know nothing about, and they trying to tie me into this violent person, that other person. But I'm battling with myself. You feel me? And I don't like when people keep trying to say I'm this type of person instead of trying to help me be a better person.
That's real. Yeah, we're gonna close out with this, Woody, and I'm gonna say this to you. Don't let this moment stop your movement. You follow me? Don't let this moment stop your movement, because I see you moving to bigger and greater things and doing exactly for others what you feel others did not do for you. And I want you to know something, that the people in this room, they clap not just because I asked, but because they honestly felt that way. There are people out here who look like you, who care about you. I've seen the comments.
I read them too.
And so I'm saying, give us an opportunity to show you as your community that we ride with you.
I'm all in.
All right. Y'all give him a round of applause.
I appreciate y'all.